This video is to help you walk through these problems. I made some silly mistakes during classes today, so I'm just making sure that these are all done correctly. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work up to the graphing, just because it'll be quicker that way. So to start here, write general equation. So I have a maximum value of 5 and an axis of symmetry at x equals 2. This is my h value. This is my k value. Maximum means that I have a negative a. So when I write my equation, it would be y equals negative a parenthesis x minus 2. And the reason why it's a minus 2 is because my h is 2, so it's opposite of what I see, squared plus 5. This next one over here, minimum. Minimum means I have an a value that's positive. This is my k. This is my h. When I write my equation, it's going to be y equals a parenthesis x plus 5 squared minus 2. Next thing we're going to talk about is completing tables for quadratics. So what we're looking for is we're looking for steps. So what's the steps between each number? That's a 1, that's a 3, which means the next step is going to be a 5. So 5 plus 5 is 10. If it's at a 1, that means it's going to mirror over 1, 3, 5, 7, and those are just there in case. So 1 plus 1 is 2. It's a quadratic, so I'm going to reflect. So this would be a 5, and this would be a 10. But to make sure I'm correct, is 10 and 7 equals 17. So on this one over here for number 2, this is a step of a 5. This is a step of 7. So this next step is going to be 9. 23 plus 9 is 32. Going backwards, 3, 1, 1. So 11 minus 3 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. Okay, this video, or section, excuse me, is about graphing. So to start, we're going to do axis of symmetry, because this is in standard form of ax squared plus bx plus c. We're going to do the formula negative b over 2a, which equals negative 8 over 2 times 2, which gives me 8 divided by 4, which tells me x equals 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to x equals 2. Actually, I'm going to use my ruler. X equals 2. I'm going to draw my dashed line. So I'm also going to label that my axis of symmetry. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my vertex. Vertex is using the axis of symmetry and plugging into my equation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug that into my equation on my calculator. So I have 2 parenthesis 2 squared minus 8 parenthesis 2 plus 3. So what that means is I'm going to take this equation, type it in, solve for that value, negative 5. So going back here, this is negative 5. So I'm going to go to 2, negative 5. So 2, 4, 5, and I'm going to put a dot here. I'm also going to label it my vertex. I know I'm color coding, but I'm also just going to label it so you guys can see it. Either color code or and label, it's up to you, 100%. So the next thing I need to find is my y-intercept, because my y-intercept is when I plug in 0. If I plug in 0, this here would go away and this would go away, so I just have 3. So my y-intercept is 0, 3. So I'm going to go to 0, 3. I'm going to put a dot there as well. And so the next thing I do is I'm going to write down if I have a min or max. So my a equals 2, which means I have a min at y equals -5. It's a minimum because my a is positive. It's at -5 because that's what my vertex value is. Remember, axis of symmetry, you have this equation. Min value, have this equation. If you don't do that, I gotta mark you wrong. Please don't do that. And then the next thing I do is I do right 1, up 1, right 2, up 4, right 3, up 9. This comes from the general shape of a quadratic. If I plug in the values to the left and to the right, I will get exactly 1 value up from my vertex. If I go 2 units out, I'll get exactly 4 units up. Unless my a value is not 1, so since my a value is 2, I have to multiply everything by 2. So my stretch is actually 2, so instead of going up 1, up 4, up 9, I'm going to go up 2, up 8, up 18. So right 1, up 2. It mirrors over. Whoops. This one mirrors over here, which gives me that right 2, up 8. And then my next dots are actually up here. Whoops. But if you can't graph them on the graph, I'm okay with that. You just have them over here off to the side. So now what you're going to do is you're going to connect your dots as best you can. And I am using my pen, so it's kind of wonky. Way prettier usually. But then I have my zeros, which I'm going to use in green this time right now. I have a 0 here, and I have a 0 here. So I have 0, 1, which is on the left, and I have 0, 2. And then I have my solutions, which is x equals. These values, unless they're perfect, have to be found on the calculator, and I'm going to bet that no matter what, we have to find them on the calculator. So, excuse me, on my calculator, I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to type in 2x squared minus 8x plus 3. I'm going to hit graph. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of toggling here. On my graph, I see I have a value. I can pick any value over here, but I can't go past the vertex or my axis of symmetry, and then left bound would be axis of symmetry in any number value over here. So I'm going to do it 2 ways. The first way is going to be with the trace button. The second way is going to be the quicker way, which is picking numbers. So if I pick a number to the left over here would be like -5, 2, and this would be 5. So we'll come back to those here in a second. So on this second calc, I'm going to calculate out a 0, and I'm going to go to the left of my 0. So my 0 is right here. I have to be on the left side. And I can pick any value to the left side. If I want to get all the way out to -5, I can. I can hit enter, and it just puts my arrow over here. The further to the left it is, so if I want to type in -5, that works. And then I have my axis of symmetry, so I'm going to bring my arrow back down, and I'm going to be on roughly my vertex, hit enter. So my calculator is going to calculate out my 0 between those 2 points. On guess, I hit enter again, and then I get my answer. So it's 0.42, sorry, 0.42. Second calc, 0 again. So now I'm going to arrow over to my vertex roughly, hit enter to start the left bound here. And then I'm going to go here to the right, hit enter, and then hit enter on guess, and I get 3.58. So I know this is 0.42, 0, and 3.58, 0. X equals 0.42, 3.58. This is my solutions here. The rest of everything else is my graph. I also did not label my y-intercept. Y-intercept. There we go. So what I was talking about on the calculator is if I go second calc 0, like I said, I can pick any number over here, so I'm going to type in -5, enter. That gets me on the left side. And then I'm going to pick my axis of symmetry, which is 2 for my right bound. I have the 0 between there. Hit enter. Get it. Second calc, 0. I'm going to hit my axis of symmetry, so 2. And I'm going to pick some number over here. I'm going to pick 5. And I see my values in between there, so I hit enter. Whoops. I messed up. Helps if I don't mess up my calculator. 2, 5, enter. There we go. So that's another way you can do it. So that's that one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the vertex form. Vertex form is a lot quicker, way nicer, not going to lie. So vertex form, it's in a parenthesis x minus h squared plus k. Opposite what you see, so I see a 2, 7. This is my vertex. My axis of symmetry is x equals 2. So x equals 2. Come back. And so then I'm going to go to 2, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I just completely color code, I don't have to label anything, but I'm still going to put a V there for vertex. Alright. A equals -1. So I have a max at y equals 7. That doesn't do anything, but my right 1, up 1, right 2, up 4, right 3, up 9, times -1, times -1, times -1, gives me really down 1, whoops, down 1, down 4, down 9, so right 1, down 1, right 2, down 4, right 3, down 9, so 7, 8, 9. Come this way here. So I have what appears to be a y-intercept. I'm going to double check that. So my y-intercept is when you plug 0 into the equation. So I'm going to, on my calculator, plug 0 into the equation. So plugging 0 into this equation, I'm going to type it in. So I'm going to go negative parenthesis 0 minus 2 parenthesis squared plus 7, enter. See, it's 3. So I'm going to put that in. And then I'm also going to put this calculator, type it into my calculator, hit graph. While that's graphing, I'm going to switch back here and I'll make sure I write this down as 3. Then I'm going to go fix this and label that my y-intercept. I picked the same color. So let's go rewrite that down real quick. I didn't realize I picked the same color. Y-intercept 0, 3. So I'll just color over that. And then I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to calculate out my zeros. So I think in period 6 I accidentally wrote down a positive 0.65. It should have been a negative, so hence the review of the video. Second calc 2. Number to the left over here, I'm going to type in -5. Then I'm going to type in my axis symmetry 2. Get negative 0.65. Second calc 0. So my next part in the middle, right bound, left bound, I need to do this side. And I'm going to type in 2, my axis of symmetry. I don't really trust picking 5, so I'm going to pick like 9. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so I get 4.65. If you don't like that, remember you can trace, make sure you're on the left side. So you always want to go the furthest left side first. Enter. go up to roughly about your vertex, enter. Second calc, 0. You're going to go left side, roughly about your vertex, and then you're going to fall down the hill or climb the hill, hit enter, and get my other one. So, that means I have 0, whoops, wrong color, green. 0, 1 is at negative 0.65, comma 0. 0, 2 is at 4.65, rounding to the nearest hundredth, 2 decimal places. And then my solutions are x equals negative 0.65, comma 4.65. Then I'm going to go put these little dots on here. 0, 2, 0, 1. And even though I label I don't know. Color code or not, that's fine, but just make sure you label everything. Or color code exactly how you need to. Make sure, once again, axis of symmetry is written as the equation. Make sure your max is written as the equation. So you gotta label your vertex, axis of symmetry, x and y intercepts. X-intercepts are zeros, 2 points on each side, that's my black points. And the solutions, which is my x equals, and then state if I have a max or min.